And we're back, and we're glad to have you back with us. In our last session, Bill Kohbarger had made some comments, and I think he had something else he wanted to say to add or clarify some of the comments. So before we go into some of the other things that we're going to cover during this session, I'm going to let him go ahead and make his comments.
Well, the comment I stated, I wasn't happy with the county commission supporting a resolution to back a criminal, and I made a comment about the gun-toting individual from Utah. First of all, I have no problem with weapons. I have 6 of them in my household, and my son knows how to shoot, and he's known how to shoot since the age of 5. He knows how to handle a weapon and what to do about gun safety, and if he ever comes across a gun, he knows who to call, a parent or police. He knows all the good things. The thing that upset me about this whole resolution thing was that they were backing a gentleman who, whether you like the BLM or not, and again, you know my thoughts on the BLM are not positive, you do not back a criminal. And that's exactly what Bundy is. He's refusing to pay for using public land so that he can put money in his pocket, and lots of money in his pocket. He should turn around and give the BLM the money he owes them. I mean, it's been 13 or 14 years, and the BLM shouldn't have waited this long.
Okay.
I mean, you've got the rock versus the immovable object.
I'm going to let you end that. I'm going to let you end that now, because I know you do support the Second Amendment.
Oh, I very much so support the Second Amendment. I just don't support our 5 commissioners.
Okay. Again, we're going to keep this as non-political as possible. When we look at the map of Nye County, and we look at Nye County, I don't know how many people realize Nye County is the 3rd largest county in the nation. And the 5 around the table that Bill Kohbarger talked about, they have the responsibility of managing not only the funds, but everything that happens within Nye County. And so it's an awesome responsibility. And yes, we do criticize our commissioners when we think they've done something wrong. We need to praise them when we think they've done something right. And that doesn't happen very often, because we continue. Them
doing something right, or the praising them?
We continue to find something wrong. But I would like to say that the commissioners are doing, I'd say, a very good job in so many areas. In other areas, we're going to continue to question them and continue to challenge them on certain things. That's why we elected them, so that we could have them do those things for the county that we want them to do.
Well, I know you have other subjects you'd like to talk about. I respectfully disagree with you on your statement that they're doing a good job.
Okay. Now, remember, too, we have the Tuesday night show every Tuesday, and we have a different host. The first Tuesday of the month, we have Dan Chenhoffen. He is a county commissioner. And Dan and I have had disagreements at times, but Dan has always been a gentleman, and he and I really do get along, even though many people say, you guys are always fighting each other. Well, that's not true. Dan and I agree on many topics. One of the biggest topics that we agree on is Yucca Mountain. And so, Dan, continue to fight for Yucca Mountain.
Well,
on the second Tuesday of the month, I will get on it. On the second Tuesday of the month, that's tonight. That's the one we're on now, and with your host, Tom Waters. And then Tom Gibson has the 3rd Tuesday night. And then on the 4th Tuesday, I want you to tune in and hear everything that Bill Kohbarger has to say about Nye County, because he's the host for that show. So please watch on Tuesday night to all the shows. I can guarantee you're going to learn something that you really didn't know. I listened to Dan Chenhoffen's show for last Tuesday, and I learned some things. I've been here now 7 years, and I thought I knew quite a bit about Nye County. I learned some things, and I'm going to continue to repeat those, whether it's Yucca Mountain or some of the other things that Dan says. I know he says he wants to stay away from political areas. I think we all have to touch that every now and then, and that's unfortunate, because we want to talk about how positive Nye County is, how positive Nye County can be. That's why we're here tonight. One of the things I want to cover, I want to make sure that we cover it, is veteran issues. Everybody knows that I'm a veteran. I served 32 years on active duty. I was a master sergeant, and then I switched over, got a commission as a 2nd lieutenant, and retired as a lieutenant colonel. I really enjoyed my military service, thoroughly enjoyed my military service, almost hated to retire after 32 years. Kind of glad I did, because I would have never found Pahrump if I had not. And that's why I'm glad I'm here. There are many things that are happening for our veterans in the town of Pahrump. And the biggest thing I want to talk about is the new clinic that's coming. The new clinic, and I'm going to ask Bill Kohbarger how much he knows about the new clinic.
Well, you know, we've had a lot of talks about that when I was town manager, you know, just making nice comments to Senator Reed, and at the time Senator Ensign and Senator Heller. And I know Senator Heller had the privilege of announcing that, I believe it was. And it's just a great thing. It's going to bring jobs, and it's going to make a very large veteran group, which is I think 32% of the population here in Pahrump, or 36%, very happy, because now they won't have to go over the mountain to get their services, their health care. It'll be able to be done right here in Pahrump. And in my opinion on that, and I've said this many a time, I don't know why we don't do everything possible for the veterans. They went overseas on every little issue to protect this country, whether it was World War I, II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, the current conflict, everything in between. They gave their lives, they gave their time, a lot of them gave their body parts, and when they come back over here, we tend to not cater to them, and we should be catering to them. We should be doing everything possible to make their lives the best they can possibly be, because what they do is just incredible.
Yes.
And thank you for your service.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for talking to my son, because you know my son wants to be a Navy SEAL.
Yes, although I was Air Force.
I understand that, but you didn't try and talk him out of being a Navy SEAL.
No.
You just told him get the college degree first and then go in, and he listened to you, and he's going to be a marine biologist, and then he's going to be a Navy SEAL. So
I think that's truly outstanding.
you know, I'm going to have my own little Army, or my own little Navy man, and my own you know, Armed Forces family member. Of course, my uncle, as you know, was in the Air Force for
Yes.
23 years. My father was in for, I believe, 4 years. And in the Air Force, and I wish I'd have listened to my uncle when I was in college, because my uncle said, go into the ROTC, you have great, and I was too busy drinking beer and eating pizza and being a college student to listen to my incredible, great advice that my uncle gave me.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Hey, it definitely is. I want to say a little bit more about the clinic. We put up the sign, and it's over on Lola. It's between the, I guess, Basin and the dialysis center. Mm-hmm. And the sign is up, and it says future home of Pahrump VA Clinic. We have waited many years for this, and
Too long.
I was in a meeting with the congressman's representative, and this is Congressman Hardy, and Congressman Hardy is new, but he's the only person that was on the floor of Congress out of all of our representatives and stated Pahrump needs a VA clinic. So we want to give him credit for that and thank him for that. We want to thank the VFW, the DAV, the American Legion, and all the veterans that have stood firm to make sure this happened. I've said over and over, if you build it, they will come. The reason we don't have some of the doctors and the other facilities, things that we need, is because the clinic that we have in Pahrump right now is just too small. Once we get that, we'll be able to get the doctor we need. We'll be able to get the social workers we need and so on, because they'll have their own office space instead of having to share offices as they do right now. The new clinic will be double the size of the small clinic we have. And it's right next to the hospital, so we don't have to waste money, taxpayer money, to bring in something that we really don't need to have. And I'm talking about something like X-ray. X-ray, we have excellent X-ray technicians at Desert View Hospital, and so we can go over there and get the X-rays we need and then bring them back to the VA. So there's certain things we won't need, but all the things that we do need, we will have space for it. And I also want to say that Hollis Harris, he was in a meeting with me, and I asked for the sign to be can we get a sign put up? And he said, I'll take care of that. And we have the sign paid for by Hollis Harris and his family, and we want to thank them. They just stepped forward. They've been with us since day one in supporting us. We have so much going on, and just want to say we need everybody to continue to support the veterans in our community.
You know,
as Bill Kohbarger said, we're a large percentage of the community, and we need what we need.
that's one of the great things about Prompt.
Yes.
All the volunteerism that with the veterans. But if you need anything done in this community, all you got to do usually go out and do social media, make a phone call, and you have 20, 30 people lined up to help you.
Absolutely.
I remember when we did a fundraiser. We actually did 2 fundraisers when I was a manager here. One for Food for Thought and one for the Boys and Girls Club, which ended up shutting down, but the money went to another club that Tom Saida and Tom Metzger started up, and it's still going strong. But the volunteerism in this town is absolutely incredible. You ask for help, and they come out of the woodwork. And a prime example of that is my last year here, when the Fall Festival hit a brick wall. We had 6 weeks to put it together.
Yes.
It was some phone calls to some local businesses, and the next thing I know, I had 20-something people in my office along with all staff saying, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? And people just came out of the woodwork to help Chief Lewis, Matt Lewis, Michael Sullivan, and myself and everybody else that worked extremely hard, Carla Yoder, Stephanie Massimino, put that on. Yep. And it was absolutely incredible, and I still think it was probably one of the best, if not the best, fall festival ever, because Rodney Camacho stepped up and got just a ton of talent from Vegas to come over here for free. I think we paid one group $50 for travel costs to come over here, but it was absolutely a phenomenal experience. We got a lot of the high school kids involved. ROTC was involved. The veterans stepped up and did the parking lot security and safety for us, and they stayed out there, I think, till 1 o'clock in the morning every night. And I put in, was it like, oh God, it was like 14-hour days for 4 straight days in a row, but it was just an absolutely incredible experience.
And I think that's why the Chamber of Commerce is saying they're building on what was started back then, and they're still using the volunteers. So this is fantastic.
Well,
I want to say we're running out of time, but I do
always run out of time when I want to speak.
We're running out of time, but we'll be in another session after this, and we'll have more things that we can talk about. But we want you to come back and join us and continue to follow us on Tuesday nights, every Tuesday night in the month, and we're going to continue doing this. Thank you.